Have you ever noticed someone checking out your child? My daughter's soccer coach kept finding excuses to talk to me after practice. At first, I thought he was just being friendly, maybe trying to connect with parents. Coach Mike seemed like the perfect youth mentor, energetic, positive, always encouraging the girls to push harder. Then my 8-year-old mentioned something that made my stomach drop. Mom, Coach Mike always asks which car is ours in the parking lot. He wants to know if we walk home or if someone picks us up. That seemed harmless enough until she casually added more details over dinner. He'd been asking what time we usually got home from practice, whether Daddy worked late shifts, if we had those doorbell cameras like the neighbors. She said he asked about our weekend plans and whether we ever went out of town. Last week, he pulled her aside after practice with a special offer. Private lessons at his house, he said. Told her she had exceptional potential and could train with his advanced development group. He even gave her his personal cell phone number in case she ever needed extra help with soccer or anything else. Something felt terribly wrong. I started paying closer attention during practices, watching from my car instead of chatting with other parents. During warm-ups, I noticed he only did stretching exercises with the girls. His hands would linger too long when adjusting their form, positioning their legs for kicks. He'd pull certain players aside for individual feedback sessions behind the equipment shed where parents couldn't see. Then my daughter dropped a bombshell that changed everything. Mom, Coach Mike showed us pictures on his phone yesterday. He said they were other players he trains privately, but they weren't wearing their soccer uniforms. They were in their underwear doing exercises. My blood ran cold. I could barely keep my voice steady as I asked for more details. She explained how he'd shown the photos to several girls, saying this was advanced training and how serious athletes practiced at home. He told them their parents wouldn't understand the commitment required, so it should be their special secret. I immediately called 3 other moms whose daughters were on the team. Turns out their girls had mentioned identical things. The inappropriate stretching sessions, private training offers at his house, photos on his phone of barely clothed children, personal phone numbers given for emergencies. One mom said her daughter came home asking if she could do sleepovers at Coach Mike's house for intensive weekend training camps. Another said he'd been texting her 10-year-old directly, asking about family schedules and whether she was ever home alone. We compared notes and realized he'd been systematically grooming multiple girls, testing boundaries, building inappropriate relationships, isolating them from their parents with claims that we wouldn't understand their athletic potential. The pattern was textbook predator behavior, and it had been happening right under our noses for months. I contacted the league president immediately, expecting swift action. Instead, she brushed off our concerns completely, said Coach Mike had been coaching youth soccer for over 6 years with no complaints, called us overly protective helicopter parents who were sexualizing innocent mentorship. Her dismissive response told me everything I needed to know. Either she was criminally negligent or actively covering for him. So I did what any protective mother would do. I told Coach Mike I wanted to schedule that private lesson for my daughter, said I was finally ready to let her reach her full potential with his advanced training methods. What he didn't know was that 5 other parents and I had coordinated our plan. We showed up at his house with hidden cameras and recorded everything he said and did during what he thought was a private grooming session. The footage we captured was enough to get him arrested that same afternoon. Police found thousands of inappropriate images on his devices and evidence of contact with players from 6 different teams across the county. The investigation revealed he'd been operating this scheme for 3 years, targeting over 40 children. Several families came forward with stories of abuse that had already occurred. The league president got fired and criminally charged too. Turns out she'd been covering for him because he was her brother-in-law. Now every parent takes turns supervising all practices, and no coach is ever alone with players.